What's good, everybody? It's the In Between podcast. Today, we are taking a look at what is to be maybe the game of the year. We got the Texans versus the Chiefs. Ooh, big implications. Big implications. I think this game is the true litmus test for the Texans. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Andy Reid in Arrowhead. Doesn't get much bigger than that. Sunday Night
Prime
Football,
time.
primetime game.
Finally, this is our chance to wipe our slate clean of being embarrassed in primetime games.
Show the
Absolutely.
world who we are.
Absolutely.
In one way
Well,
or another, we're going to show the world who we are.
yeah. What do you think this game means? I mean, for the Texans. Uh,
Everything. We have a chance to submit ourselves or to cement ourselves as the new Texans because Texans fans are very jaded when it comes to big games and being like, "Oh, we have a good team," and then losing in big moments. Like whenever we were 8-0 and we played the Green Bay Packers at home on Sunday night and got destroyed, you know, so on and so forth. I don't need to recall our entire history of losing, but we have lost a lot of big games, and I think that this year is different. And there's only one way to find out. If we can go into Arrowhead Sunday Night Football and win, not just barely, but convincingly, then it's going to be a whole different conversation about Houston moving forward. And so I
mm,
think that this is a new chance, not just to win a game to better our season and in the Chiefs season, but it's to be like, hey, the Texans are finally a serious team. Get rid of that old crap, And so I think we need to do it. This is our most important game we've ever played, in my opinion, in
absolutely.
franchise history.
Whoa, franchise history. Ooh, all right. All right.
I think it is. I think it is.
All right. Alex, what you got?
Beat the Chiefs. Get the Chiefs out the playoffs. We run the playoffs.
I agree with that.
That's
I agree
that.
with that.
That's all I can say right there. Beat the Chiefs. If you get the Chiefs out the playoffs, you don't have to worry about facing the Chiefs in the playoffs.
I think this is a playoff game. It really is a
Oh,
playoff game.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we
That's
need
that's
to,
what it feels like. Sunday Night
yeah,
Football. There's still, there'll be 4 weeks of football after this, but this does feel like almost like a play-in game.
yeah.
Like, all right, cool. You beat the Chiefs because when you look at the rest of the schedule, and it's like, okay, who you beat the Chiefs in Chiefs in Kansas City. It's like, well, who else are you afraid of? Nobody.
You got
Um,
Yeah.
Arizona.
Next week we got Arizona. So if you can if you can win
Yeah.
this game, then you're feeling pretty good about going to Arizona. And you're
mm,
feeling pretty good about going to Las Vegas after that.
Well, you're playing in Houston against the Raiders, so you got the Raiders
Yeah.
in Houston, and then you got the Colts in Houston. So
The Chargers too, right?
yeah, you got the
Yeah.
Chargers in LA.
that sounds
These
good. I mean, that's a big game, but it's about playing. It's not looking too far ahead. It's playing the team in front of you. And
yeah.
this, I think, this is the game. This is the biggest game of the year for the Texans. This is going to establish you're playing Patrick Mahomes and a Chief offense who have come alive, I think, in the last, like month or so. They were super stagnant at the beginning of the season. It was just like, it doesn't feel like the Chiefs. And they were still winning some games, but then the last month, almost
Mm-hmm.
2 months of football, here come the Chiefs. The offense comes alive. Travis Kelce
Mm-hmm.
decides to show up and be Travis Kelce again. Mahomes made some crazy plays. We talked about the last podcast. To in the Cowboys game, to Rasheed Rice, he had two or three throws that were just Mahomes-esque plays. And so
Mm-hmm.
this will be the game that truly defines eliteness in this defense. This is going to be the game. If the Texans take care of business, it's going to put the AFC on notice. There's no team in the AFC that's safe. There's no team that I believe will be favored to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion, if the Texans take down the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I want to see. The as good as the Chiefs' or offense is, their defense is really hit and miss. Can CJ Stroud and this offense take advantage of that? And I want to see them move the ball on both halves. Move the ball, score some points. I would be super impressed if they ran away with the game. If they get up, if they win by 10 plus points, I'd be super impressed, and the league would really be put on notice at that point. But hey, a win's a win. You just want to get out with the win. You're
Yeah.
just trying to go for you're going for brownie points at that point. Respect if you really take it to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's what I'm
I
looking
would
for.
love a dominant offensive win. I feel like if our offense put up 30 to 40 points, that would be beautiful.
Hmm.
That would be beautiful. And keep the Chiefs under 20. Oh man.
I
That
would
would be
say
crazy.
I would like a dominant performance by the offense, but I would also like a defensive score somewhere in there just to solidify, like, hey, our offense is good, but let's not forget our defense is still our defense.
Oh, we know our
Absolutely.
defense is legit, but that's a question everybody has about us. So when we go to Arrowhead and we put up a lot of points, people are going to be like, "Who's going to stop this team?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The Texans win this, and they're at minimum, they're the dark horse in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, you have
yeah,
to go to you have to go play the Texans, and the Texans went into the Chiefs' house and took care of business, and they took care of business
yeah,
convincingly. Like, oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. You're like, oh, that's the team you just don't want to play.
Well, because then the narrative becomes the Texans just beat the Bills, the Colts, and the Chiefs. And because the Chiefs, or they were talking about the Colts had the number one offense, MVP Josh Allen, and then reigning Super Bowl attenders in the AFC, Patrick Mahomes. So if you do that,
Absolutely,
bro, we're now a top team officially.
absolutely, absolutely. And so that kind of goes to my next point. Um, is this low key like the game of the year? And the reason I say that is, if the Chiefs lose this, they're now 2 games behind the lowest wild card team, at
Mm-hmm.
least two, possibly three. And
Mm-hmm.
then I keep reiterating this: every single wild card team has the tiebreaker over the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
If the Chiefs lose this game, I think they're done.
Yeah.
I don't see them, because after this will be 4 weeks of football. Even if they win out, let's say they win the next 4 weeks, the Bills would have to implode, the Chargers would have to implode, the Jaguars would have to implode, and the Texans would have to essentially implode because now the Texans will have, the head-to-head tiebreaker. Uh,
The
I don't.
Jaguars imploding is
Possible.
It's
possible.
possible.
We've seen them do it before, bro.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very
But the
possible.
problem with that though is that even if the Jaguars implode, the Texans would take that last wild card slot and the Chiefs would still be the last team looking in. It would take
No.
2 teams in the wild card race to implode. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's a game of the year for the AFC for sure. For the
Sure.
NFC, I don't know, but for the AFC, yes, because nobody wants to play the Chiefs in the playoffs in the AFC. So
No,
everybody's suddenly like, "Oh, bro, we can win the Super Bowl if the Chiefs get eliminated."
absolutely. As much as I would love it to be a blowout,
Hmm.
even if it's a close game, it still is in favor of the Chiefs. The Chiefs' record right now in one-score games this season, 1-6. 1-6. That's super rare for a Patrick Mahomes Andy Reid team. They're always, if
Hmm.
it's close, they always find a way to get it done. Now, whether you want to drop the card of, well, the refs bail them out, or I said it, you heard it here first. Or if Patrick Mahomes just comes in clutch and makes a crazy throw, or the defense gets a timely turnover, or blocks a field goal, they just seem to find a way to get it done. This year, they're not. Um, and I guess the question is, what's different with this Chiefs team versus teams in the past? And that's anybody who wants to answer that. I'm not really sure. I really don't know what makes them different. Is it age? Is it roster? Is it coaching?
Taylor Swift is no longer in the stands to generate billions of dollars of revenue to the Chiefs. Therefore, there's no reason for them to win if they're not making the NFL any money.
Why is she not in the stands no more?
It's a great question that I don't have the answer to. I'm just saying, I don't want to be that guy, but the Taylor Swift effect was
What about
very.
before? What about before when they won those 3 Super Bowls? Before she started dating Kelsey, or two
They
Super
were
Bowls?
they were legitimately winning. I give it to them. They was just putting the belt on boys. They really was. But last season there was a lot of games where it was like, man,
Sure. But they got it. I
Like,
mean, that the ball, that saying, ball don't lie. And when they got to the Super Bowl, you talking about
yeah,
BTA, they were
that,
handed it to people. They
yeah,
got it handed to them. And the
because
two
you want
Super
to.
Bowls they've lost, they've got it handed to them.
You call it 22-40, but it was like, bro, they were up like what,
It was
34,
40 to
33 to nothing.
16. Yeah, 30, it was 37 to 6
Well,
at
at
one
one
point.
point it was like 40-6
Yeah.
before Kenny Pickett went in the game and the third string and the practice squad got on the field, and then Kansas City just started making a fake comeback, in garbage time, just putting up crazy, Patrick Mahomes was trying to stat pad, but yeah,
I
them
think
boys.
Yeah.
it's just how it goes because whenever the Chiefs first came into the league with not the Chiefs, whenever like Patrick Mahomes first came in the league, that whole offense and everything was very new. No one's seen Mahomes, no one's seen Kelsey at that level, no one's seen all those things that were happening. But now they've been dominant for how many years? There's all this tape you can go back to, and though all the coaches are leaving and going to different teams that are now playing the Chiefs, so on and so forth. All these factors factor in, and you got to reinvent yourself. And at the current moment, it doesn't seem like they've reinvented themselves yet. They're still on the first era Chiefs. So until they go back to the drawing board and do something else, they're gonna be kind of figured out.
Here, I guess, for me, I think it comes down to the defense.
That's one of those things too.
In past years, their offense is still putting up good points. They're still making clutch plays, and whenever they need to make a drive to score, they score. But the biggest difference is the defense isn't getting crucial stops. When
Hmm.
it's in crunch time and it's time to hold a team to 3 and out, or create a turnover, the defense just isn't opportunistic.
Well, that's also because there's a lot of people who aren't there anymore. Like, you get rid of L'Jarius Sneed, he goes to the Titans. You get rid of Frank Clark, he goes to wherever he goes. Chris Jones hasn't been producing. Chris Jones hasn't been Chris Jones.
Hmm.
Then, like, if you look at the Thanksgiving game, like, Trent McDuffie was getting absolutely torched by CeeDee Lamb all day. It was one-on-one coverage, and that man was just getting absolutely murdered by CeeDee Lamb. Like, so they're just not. And it's one of those things where it's like McDuffie, I'll be honest, McDuffie was only good with Sneed. McDuffie is only good as Sneed was. So it's like them two together were strong. But them two apart, it's like now he's there by himself on that island. He's getting torched. Like he's nobody without him. So
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
those things where I would anticipate if you get the one-on-one, Trent McDuffie, Nico Collins, that'll be something. That'll be something looking forward to watch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nico Collins, Jaden
Woo!
Higgins.
Josh
Uh,
Simmons, their starting left tackle, is out for the next 4 games. He has a
really?
dislocated. He has a dislocated wrist.
Mm.
Who's their backup? Is it
Now you got to see Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. Oh my gosh, bro!
and see that's what got the Chiefs in trouble in that Super Bowl against Brady, against Tampa Bay,
Oh
was they
man, that
lost
O line,
offensive
yeah,
linemen,
they were.
and Patrick Mahomes was running 100 yards essentially every single play, trying to make a play happen, and he almost made some play happens. That's how good he is. Um,
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like if we can stop Pat from running, it's gonna be a long day for him.
it's
A
gonna be, I
long
don't want to give
day.
away too many things on the keys to victory, but it's gonna be a lot of the same thing with Josh Allen. The way
Yeah.
they play Josh Allen, bro. You've got to keep your lane integrity. You got to keep the rush integrity. You
No
can't let
fourth and
him
27s.
escape the
Yeah,
pocket. Yeah.
because the thing
Um,
about Patrick Mahomes is like Patrick Mahomes is going to escape that pocket.
He's
There,
not like Josh Allen. If you give up a
yeah,
fourth and 27 to him, that's the end of the game on your end.
yeah.
You
Yeah, that man's gonna make you
lost.
pay.
You
But and
lost.
here's the other thing. His stats are, he's got 22 touchdowns to 7 picks. He's not. I felt like last year he was very turnover prone. He's not as bad this year, but you
Mm.
can lure him into making some mistakes. He's not, above reproach when it comes to, turnovers.
I think he'll probably have like a 3-pick game.
Okay, you heard it here first. 3-pick game.
3-pick game. It's very possible, especially if they take away Travis Kelsey. Yeah, it could easily go to a 3-pick game, man. Throwing the
The problem is you
Stingley.
take away Travis Kelce though, and you put your best corner, let's say on Travis Kelce, you have to account for
Yeah,
Rasheed Rice. Rasheed Rice has been a beast the last 2 games. He's had
yeah,
some super clutch. Now
yeah.
he is battling, I believe it's a calf strain, so he's not
Mm.
100%, but some crazy, crazy grabs against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys defense is no joke either. They're starting to come alive.
Yeah, but I will say, like, if you put, because you put what, Stingley on Kelsey?
Bro, Stingley gave up 0 catches
Yeah, then
last
you still
game.
gotta also worry about Kamari Lassiter. You gotta worry about Kalen
Kalen
Bullock.
Bullock. Then we got Petrie back too.
Yeah, Petrie. So it's like
So
that's the
that's
thing
why I'm
where it's
saying
like,
it could
yeah,
be a
when you
three
start
pick
talking
game.
about the Texans defense, when like
It could
you,
be a
you
three
go
pick
one
game.
man down and this guy has to hold them, like you still have an entire
Sure.
team of dogs. Then
Absolutely. That's
We got
why
to
the
make them
Texans defense number
catches
one.
though.
Yeah.
We need to make them catches. No, no, we need to take every opportunity we got. We need to catch all those deflected passes. We need to run back those interceptions for touchdowns without getting blocks in the back. We need to take every little thing. We have to literally play a clean, perfect game.
Absolutely. My analysis of the Texans so far. And this isn't a bad thing. Lots of good teams are like the Texans are a front running team. I don't think they do well having to come from behind. I think they have the horses on the defense to create turnovers, but the offense just hasn't shown me enough to be like, oh, we can come from behind. Now that could change. That could very well change. But the Texans need to get out to a lead, whether it's 7, 10, 20 points. They have to maintain a lead, and that's where I will feel the most confident is their defense having to get Mahomes off the field and their offense not having to score to win the game or to catch back up. That's, I
But
think,
I
where
actually think CJ is like at his best when he's down. CJ Stroud can really ball when he's down. He rarely does blow people out when he's up, but whenever he's down, he can score when he needs to. He's had some crazy comebacks, man.
uh, in past seasons, yes. In this particular season,
Yeah.
I'd feel more comfortable with the lead because I know the
Yeah.
defense is going to get stops. It's going to get in. Like I said, as good as the Chiefs' offense is, they're
Mm,
still you can get them to go 3 and out. It's not like it's going to
yeah.
be home, and they're not doing home run plays very often. So it's not
Hmm.
like oh, you had
they
Tyreek streaking down the.
they took a couple of shots though during Thanksgiving game. They
Yeah.
took a couple shots and drew some flags.
The
Sure,
worst part about the Chiefs, bro, is that they can score in like 3 plays, all at will.
they they can, but they're not doing it at a high frequency this year.
Yeah.
Um, we're at the tail end of the season.
Because they don't got
There's
Tyreek Hill no more, bro. That's why.
but you have Rasheed Rice. Rasheed Rice is that
Yeah.
level of player, but they're just the analysis of who a team is established at this point in the season, and they're not that team. Sure, they'll take a few shots down the field, but they're not scoring huge plays. 2 or 3 play drives to then go and score a touchdown in like 30 seconds. They're just not that team this year.
Mm,
So that's where I feel super confident with the Texans defense, especially the front four. The front four getting after and harassing Mahomes and
yeah.
making it. This is where it's super important. Keep those rush lanes. Don't let him break outside the pocket to either extend the play or take off and run. But you get to Mahomes and let the pocket collapse. Oh, it's gonna be a long day. Not only will you get
Hmm.
turnovers, you're just going to get. They're going to keep the Chiefs D or offense off the field, and you're going to keep the Texans offense on the field. So can they withstand? With maintain, long offensive periods and keep them off the field, that's going to be super crucial. No, I think what's going to be interesting is how the Texans deal with the elements. It's getting cold. Arrowhead is a cold stadium. It's cold. It's windy. I haven't looked at the weather, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was, sleet, snow, some of those factors.
CJ
Now I think
Stroud used to play in Ohio, man. He can handle it.
sure, but that was what 4 years ago,
A
Oh,
year ago, he was in Kansas City playing.
it will be snowing on Sunday.
like during the game.
It says that Kansas City, Missouri, 32 degrees, 10% precipitation, snow showers, wind
Mhm.
11 miles per hour. Um, let's see.
Couldn't pay me, bro. Couldn't pay me to be out there getting hit in the cold. Oh
Well, you saw
man,
they had that clip a couple years back. I showed the Seahawks that went there, and you see all the Seahawks players. They didn't put their pads on. They're out there warming up, and bro, NFL players are just different.
this is
They talking
true,
about they was all out there without the shirts.
Yep.
bro.
And
The
yeah,
Bills is crazy,
but
bro.
they got like blown out that game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they got destroyed. But
The
it was funny because
Bills,
you just, the mentality of the players just going out there, it is what it is. So I'm going to pull up a few graphics.
bro. The
Oh
Bills
First
last
man,
graphic,
year, the Bills had
wa-
their fans shoveling snow, bro.
it,
oh, was that against the Niners? Or was that a different game?
I don't remember who they played, but it was disgusting, bro. They were like, "Hey, free ticket. If you shovel the snow, you get $10 an hour and free tickets to the game."
Hey, but that's the nice thing about winter. I love winter because you can always put more clothing on. The summertime, you can only take off so much.
Bro, but when your hands freeze and your nose gets cold, that's a cake. That's rap. That's
That's where
rap right there.
you got that face mask and you got some nice warming gloves.
Shiesty. Well, Woodrow, we had the shiesty.
dude.
All right. Well, here's a couple graphics.
Hold on,
There's
I got one thing to say. You know what the temperature is going to be at kickoff?
What?
About 18 degrees.
Oh
Was that with
no.
wind chill factor?
Uh, feels like. Let's see.
That's cold. I mean,
I'm gonna
18
be
degrees.
bro, even more. We can go get that January victory.
Oh wait. No, never mind. It'll be 25 degrees, but feels like 18.
Yeah, that wind chill factor. Yeah, it's gonna drop it. It's gonna be
25 is
cold.
crazy. 25 is crazy.
It'll
The
be
the
20.
biggest factor, will be like field goals and stuff. Anytime there's wind, field goals. I think both quarterbacks have a strong enough arm. It's not going to affect, pass plays. Um,
We need to score
but yeah.
touchdowns.
Oh, absolutely. You have to score touchdowns against the Chief. You can't settle for three. But here's a couple graphics showing, the analysts what they think. First one, you know, only one person's got the Texans winning. Now, the one thing I will say is everyone thinks it's going to be a close game. The biggest, deficit is 23-17, so 6-point game.
I don't
They
want to
know it's
hear it.
close. The uh not the over under. The spread only has Kansas City 3.5. And rule of thumb is, home team gets 3 points. So a half game. So it's super close. So everyone has, they have this as a toss-up game. What they call them. I think they call this would be a pick 'em game. Um,
Why do they have us scoring 15 points, bro? This is an odd number of points to score.
it what would that be? Touchdown, field goal, and a safety, or a missed extra point, or something like that. Oh, you could have five field goals.
Or a touchdown and then another touchdown or touchdown PAT touchdown go for 2.
Oh yeah, there you go. Just some odd ducks. People like throwing stuff out there. Well, I'll take this one down. I'm going to show another graphic of another game in which what should have been a blowout, but the Texans still won. So we go back to the Buffalo game. Everyone had Buffalo winning. Now, granted, the Texans were coming, they were what, 4-5 at that point. Super up and down, no consistent wins. The Texans are on a 3-game win streak.
4.
4-game win streak. Oh, look at that. 4-game win streak at this point. And even then, they still have, most of the Chiefs winning. I think a lot of people have more confidence in the Chiefs at home than they do the Texans playing on the road. I'd have to look up. No, the Chiefs are 5. Yeah, the Chiefs are 5-1 at home this season. And let me look up. Let me look up their wins at home. So they lost. Oh, they lost to the Eagles. That's not right. Oh,
The
this.
Super Bowl. They're looking at the Super Bowl right now.
No. This has the Eagles, but they also has the Chargers. Did they play the Chargers the first game of the season at home?
I thought
Yeah,
they played. I thought they played in LA.
they're a division game or a
I,
divisional
I think
team.
week 1 was in
Oh
LA.
no, they played the Yeah, they played the first one in
No,
LA.
they didn't play. How, well, did they?
Yeah, week one was in
Yep.
LA.
Yep. Because the next one,
They
the week after
lost,
the
right?
Texans, yeah, they lost, 27-21. So the only home loss was to the Eagles. And that was by three
Hey,
points.
that was that game. Chris Jones was talking trash.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
He
pissed at
said
the end.
you ain't even have over 100 yards. Jalen Hurts said we still won the game. Shut your ass up.
But who do they play at home so far?
They played the Ravens without Lamar Jackson, 37-20. They played the Lions. They beat them 30-17. Played the Raiders, beat them 31 nothing. The Commanders 28-7.
Was that with or
And
without JD?
I believe that was without.
No, okay.
And they played the Colts. And that was 2 weeks ago.
Went to overtime.
Yep. 23-20 win in overtime versus the Colts. You've got some blowouts. The one impressive win I will say that's on here was the Lions game. And that was before the Lions started falling apart. The Lions were pretty hot at that point. They go in there, they handle business 30-17. Probably their most impressive home win. Outside of that, I mean, teams are keeping it close. Or they're just playing dookie teams without their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Beating up on trash bags.
Yeah. So we'll save our picks for the next show. But let's think about a realistic take. We'll move on to the next section. If you had to pick a path to the Super Bowl, let's just stick with, let's say the Texans make the wild card. So then they have to play three games to get to the Super Bowl. Who
Yeah.
would the three teams you'd want to play to get to the Super Bowl?
The winner of the AFC North.
Okay, I see that one.
No, wait. As long as it's not the Ravens. I don't
In
want
this
the Ravens.
in this form, I'd still take them.
I would take Pittsburgh over the Ravens. If you're going to give me a choice, give me
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
yeah.
Like, I mean, people are like, "Oh, that's such a weak sell." Bro, who cares,
But
man? A win is a win.
if the Bengals make it, I don't want to play them. So
But
really,
that's
I
fair.
am saying the Steelers.
Well, we've beaten Joe Burrow in Cincy before.
We have.
I think
We
that
have.
defense will give him Pitts or Pitts.
Yeah,
I'll give
because
him
the
Fitz.
Bengals O line hates Joe Burrow, and
Yeah, I think they would be.
our
Joe
D
Burrow might.
line, yeah,
I don't know if he would last the whole game in that game.
I think our
If
D
we're
line
keeping it a
versus the
buck.
Bengals O line is definitely doable.
But then again, do I want to play Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, bro? I
Yes,
don't think
he is
so.
old and decrepit
I would. When's the last time Aaron Rodgers did anything in the playoffs?
in the Super Bowl versus the Steelers.
I mean, he's done stuff before that, but 2020, that was
I
the
don't even
last time
remember. I don't even remember.
they went to the NFC title game against Brady and the Bucks.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. That was the last time. So let's go backwards. So 2020,
Oh,
that
you
was
said
the last
NFC.
time
Okay.
they went to the
I
NFC
was
title
like,
game.
yeah, it confused me because he said because I'm so used to Brady being in
You
the
know, Patriot.
AFC.
Oh,
That's what
Yeah,
I was
and I'm
like.
so used to
I
because
said,
Rodgers is in the AFC now, so I was like, hold up.
I said, hold
So
up,
look,
man.
history lesson. So 2021, they lose divisional round to the Niners in that crazy punt block and
Snow game.
game-winning field goal. They only scored 10 points. 2022, they don't make the playoffs. I don't even think they make the playoffs. 2023, he goes to the Jets. Um, you know, tears his Achilles. 2024, heck,
While
was
you
it
laughing, Alex,
2024?
while you smiling, bro, because
Because of that highlight reel that they was playing, bro. They say Aaron Rodgers 2023 highlight reel. That man running out with the flag, bro. That was it. They stopped the video right there.
Yeah, because that was the first game of the season. That was crazy.
Bro came out, and it was like the first drive. It was literally like the first drive.
It was super early, like 2 or 3 plays into the first drive.
Yeah, it's tough.
That
It's
was the
tough for sure.
Bills. Was that Bills Monday night or Sunday night? It was a primetime game.
I think it was Sunday night. Or
Some
was it a Thursday? Was it the home opener? I think it was
I
like
think it
No.
was the Thursday. I think
I
it
think
was
it
a
was like
Thursday.
NFL kick. It was like the first game of the season. It was something crazy
No,
like that.
because there was the Jets and the Bills, and none of those teams won the Super. So the Super Bowl winner gets to host the Thursday night game,
Oh, they do.
and the Chiefs were the Super Bowl winner that year, so they hosted the
Yeah,
Ravens.
yeah, yeah. You're right.
Was it a
So it
Monday
was.
night game? I think it was a Monday
I
night
think it
game.
was Monday night. It was either.
It
I
was
knew it was a prime
It was
time.
a
no, it
night
was
game.
Monday. It was Monday. It was Monday
Okay,
because it was the only game on.
and then I don't remember what he did last year. Who was he on the Jets still?
I
I
think
don't
so.
know.
The Jets were still buns. Like they were still bad.
I don't know.
Um, I can't. But that's what I'm saying. When was the last time Aaron Rodgers did anything? Let alone the playoffs, bro.
I don't want it to
2020.
be this year.
I I think he's decent. There's some decent weapons. Like he's a Hall of Fame
Well,
quarterback, but he's on the sunset end of his career.
Oh yeah, he's been in the
This
league 20 years.
Yeah, like this isn't like he's just gonna go and take off and run like Patrick Mahomes. You keep him in the pocket. Now he still has the arm talent, but you keep that man in the pocket with the Texans front four. Give me Aaron Rodgers all day
And then
over Lamar Jackson.
he doesn't really have any weapons.
He's
Like
got DK. I mean, he's got
yeah,
DK.
but aside from
That
DK, double
that's
team
what
DK.
I would take the Pittsburgh Steelers over Baltimore and Cincy 10 times out of 10
Oh, absolutely.
and then some. Give me the Steelers. Especially if they're going to be the 4 seed. So if the Texans get the 5th seed, I'd take the Steelers. And then that makes, the between Buffalo, the Chargers, and Jacksonville or the Colts, you just hope one of those teams upsets, a high seeded. So then you don't have to play whoever's the number 1 seed, which I don't think it really matters. But all right, so cool.
if it's New England, give me New England, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say if it's New England or if it's Denver, give me either of them. I'm not scared of either of them
That's fine.
because
And
we
that
put
might be
40 points on the
I'm
Patriots last
scared
year.
of Denver. More scared of Denver only because their defense is really good and our
I'm not.
offensive line can be compromised.
Denver didn't beat us. We beat ourselves because we got too conservative trying to play for overtime. That was really what happened when CJ went down that game. That's the only reason we lost.
okay. So then, all right, you get past Pittsburgh. More than likely, let's just throw in the scenario that all the division outside of Pittsburgh, all the other division winners win, which would be Denver, and as it stands right now, Jacksonville. You play Denver because they'd be the next high seed. Oh no, I lied. You would play New England at that point because you'd be the lowest. So the number 1 seed when they come into the division round plays the lowest remaining seed.
That's easy.
So be New England.
I'll take New England, bro.
I'll take New
Okay.
England because they'd be coming off a bye, huh?
Yeah.
You
They'd
get
be
a-
I'll
at the
take
first round
Drake.
bye.
Drake May.
One and done.
I will. Drake May will be flattened. Respectfully,
What?
people
Oh,
gonna have
that's
to.
gonna
They gonna have to calm down on that Drake May talk after that. Especially because like nobody is respecting the fraudulent wins that New England has had.
They put up some points though. I'll give them that. They have the second highest point total in the AFC.
Well, yeah, but look who they're playing.
Bro, you play the Saints. You play.
You played the Saints. You
Well,
played
let's look
the
at their
Browns. You played the Jets.
let's look at their wins.
Bro, literally, go look.
They
Look at
lost
his
to the
face. Look at his
Raiders.
face
They
already.
lost to the
Look at his
Raiders
face
the first
already.
game of the year.
Look at his face already, bro. As soon as he's seeing the schedule.
All right. So you lose to the Raiders.
And I feel like that.
See?
And I feel like that alone.
Look,
I
he
feel
can't
like
even
that
say-
alone. Hey, but I feel like that alone sets a tone, bro. Like you're a 10-2 team and you lost to the Raiders.
He can't even say it
all
with
right.
a straight face, bro. He can't even say the schedule with a straight face, bro.
The 2-10
Okay.
the 10-2 Patriots lost to the 2-10.
The only
Raiders.
two teams they beat that were solid was they beat the Bills, they beat the Buccaneers, and the Panthers.
I'll
But it
be
was
honest though, the Bills have regressed. The Bills aren't who they used to be.
They're not as high as like this would be. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So the one caveat I will push back a little bit. the Raiders was the first game of the year, and I think we can all agree that the first game of the year is just an extension of the preseason. So
I can give you that. I can give you that.
I'll do that. Now their two losses, I mean, came in the first 3 weeks, and they haven't lost since. Now I get they haven't played anybody outside of the Bills and the Buccaneers. I'm not even going to give them the Panthers because the Panthers were poo at that point. The Panthers didn't start coming on till the last month.
Exactly. So you're telling me that team that has that record against those teams are going to just defeat the number one defense in the NFL.
Oof, excuse me. So here's what I will say: the next 2 weeks will be telling because they play the Bills at home and they play at the Ravens. How they handle those teams will be telling. It'll determine whether they are.
But the Bills is not even a good litmus test because that's a divisional rival, bro.
Yeah, but
And
it's
then
still it's a
also,
playoff team. I think we're gonna. These are two because their other two games after that are the Jets and the Dolphins. So those are the only two games that you can get any litmus test of if this team is for real or not.
they're going to get bounced, man. They are
These
going to get
dudes,
bounced.
Oh, I don't disagree that that might be one and done. Well, let's see what they do again. And it's even hard
people,
because the Ravens just aren't the Ravens.
yeah,
Exactly.
nobody is anybody this year.
So the
Yeah,
Patriots are about to be the number one seed in the NFL, bro. When they or in the AFC,
yeah.
because the
They have the
Broncos,
tiebreaker.
I
Oh,
don't
excuse me, I
know.
got the yawns tonight.
The Broncos are probably still going. They're probably going to drop 2 games.
They have the tiebreaker. How do they have? Well, they have one more win, but if the Broncos win, no, because even then, so New England will still have the tiebreaker because they have the better division record. They have the same conference record, but the Patriots are 3-0 in the division. The Broncos are 2-1. Broncos are 6-0 at home. Not that that counts for anything, but um,
Yeah, they're a solid home team.
you don't fear anybody, whether you have to play the Broncos or New England.
Bro, I look at the quarterbacks, bro. Bo Nix is not about to tear apart the number one defense in the NFL. An
Yeah,
experienced number one defense in the NFL at that. It's not like we just gelled together a bunch of random guys. It's like, bro, that's Matt Burke, D'Amico Ryans. Like, that's a real defense right there. You're not about to just go over there and just tear them apart. Bo Nix is not like that, bro.
I agree. I don't think there's enough. They don't have any horses. They don't have enough horses on offense to inflict damage where I would.
Because
Uh,
who do they
He
even
don't
have?
he don't have
well,
that he don't have that mental
um,
fortitude to do it. And that's why I'm saying like if the Texans make it, we have a good chance because CJ would be like one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the NFL
yeah,
or
you got
in the playoffs, sorry.
Cortland Sutton.
Okay,
Um,
all of a sudden,
I mean,
I got him on
Jordan
my
Humphrey,
fantasy team.
Marvin Mims. I don't think he's a starter. Who's
I
the
think
running back?
Sutton is the only one that's like okay. He
There's
might.
not a lot of people. Who is their starting one? They don't have a ton of people that strike. That's what I'm saying. They don't have a ton of people that strike fear in the offense. It's the defense. It's truly how is the Texans offense going to
Yeah, but the
handle
Broncos,
the
like,
Broncos
don't get me
defense?
wrong, the Broncos defense is okay. Like,
The Broncos defense gets a lot of sacks.
like
That's
I
what
can,
makes them what they do.
yeah, but
Nobody has a complete defense like the Texans. And
everybody talk about Pat Surtain, but it's like, yeah, Pat Surtain is cool. Like, he's not better than Derek Stingley, but then it's like, who else do you have? You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
Because when you talk
well,
about the
yeah,
Texans, when you talk about the Texans defense, you're talking about Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. That's just the start. Then you also got Sheldon Rankins, and then you move back. You got Aziz, you got Henry. Then you move back. You got Stingley, Petrie, Bullock, Lassiter. Like nobody ever talks about a team like that. So like, because there's been a lot of talk to everybody. Like I got a homeboy. He be like, man, Broncos number one defense. Broncos number one defense. I'm like, name me a player aside from Pat Surtain. You can't.
you'd be
Like,
like Nick Benito.
yeah,
Um,
but it's you know what I'm saying? It's one of those you're not just pulling names like you are with the Texans. You're not just
that's fair.
firing off people.
Yeah, I agree with that. this is, I just, for the sake of debate, I still gotta see it from the Texans offense. Let's not act like the Texans offense isn't lighting it up against teams. That's where it's like the defense is just overwhelmingly the best defense in the league, but the
Mm.
offense is middle of the pack, and it hasn't shown me enough to say like, oh yeah, they can get hot and put up 30 points consistently because they haven't. They've done it in spurts. Um, but the the
But I
the
mean,
defense is
last year
so
the
good
Chiefs
though.
went to the Super Bowl and they haven't scored 30 points in any game except for in the divisional round against the no wait, or was it the AFC Championship against
It was
the
it was the Bills, the AFC
yeah,
Championship
against the
against the
Bills.
Bills.
Against the Bills. That's the only time they put up 30 the whole season and they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But outside of the Eagles, what elite defenses did they face?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We
So,
have that offense and we have the Eagles defense from last year. You combine those two teams, that's the Texans. You know.
well, I mean, I think that the Chiefs had a better offense, but um, I'm not
Not
saying the Texans can't do it or that they
not
can't
in terms
show
of
us.
scoring not in terms of scoring points. They didn't have a better offense.
I mean, it's
That
Patrick Mahomes versus CJ Stroud, and we're gonna go. I think
yeah
we all go Patrick Mahomes, but
yes we would.
that's not to
Give
say that
me
they.
see. No, I'm playing.
That's not to say that CJ Stroud's first game back, he shakes off the rust, and then they turn on a
Yeah,
switch.
my point
Now's the
being you
time
don't
to
have
turn
to
on the
score a
switch and get
lot.
confidence.
You don't have to score 40 points to win every game. He's not in the Joe Burrow situation. He
No.
literally can win a game scoring 20 points.
Here's where I take pause against that though, because I've seen teams do that they have this crazy good offense. Let's look at the 2021 Niners are the perfect example of this. Super good defense, easily top five, top three defense, just shutting teams down. But the offense, especially on the second half, they were carried by Debo. But once teams locked in on Debo, the offense was super stagnant. So the NFC title game against the Rams, the Niners were clearly the better team. They had the better defense, but the offense was a push. But
Who
excuse me,
was their
when it came
quarterback?
down to it was Jimmy Garoppolo. And
There you go.
CJ Stroud is a better quarterback, hands down. But the Niners had
That's
more
the difference.
weapons.
That's
But
the
they had more
difference.
weapons. They had better running backs. They had better receivers. They had a better tight end.
But whose job is
Now,
it to get the ball to those great receivers?
I mean, it is the quarterbacks. I get your point. The point I'm trying to make though is that they were holding teams. They only gave up 20 points, but the problem is they only scored
Yeah,
17 points. So at some
yeah.
point in time, the offense has to score a legitimate amount of points. I would say 25 plus is a comfortable amount because you're going to run into that game where your defense, it's going to bend not break, but it's like, oh, they held them to 20 points, but you only put up like 17. And in
That's
the playoffs, it's going to cost you.
yeah, because that look at the Texans. You lose week one. You only give up 14 points, but you only scored 9. You give up 18, but you only scored 15.
Mm,
Like you give up 27, you scored 20. Like we have to find something that's gonna like. I think, especially looking like playoff wise, you gotta put a minimum offense. Got to put a minimum 3 touchdowns on the board every game. Minimum.
yeah. I mean, let's look at the last 5 games. The last 5 games, you're talking, they put up 15 points, then he put up 36 against the Jaguars, then 16 points, 23 points, and 20 points. Now your
Davis
defense is
Mills.
just shutting people down. All right, now the Texans they put up 44-26 um with CJ Stroud, but they also had games where they put up 9, 19, 10, 19.
Yeah.
Um, so it's inconsistent. These last few games, especially against, you've got 2 weeks after the Chiefs, you take care of business. I don't care what the score is. I would love to see them put up some points, but you have almost 2 tune-up games against the Cardinals and the Raiders. You need to show me that you can put up 30 points against both those teams. I'll even lower it at least 25 points. You need to be able to put up 25 points against both those teams. If
I,
they don't put up 25 points against those teams, it's a slight concern going into the playoffs. And that's my take. I mean, if you have a different opinion, by all means, but that's how I feel. I think there's a
nah,
level of
that's
some
legit.
consistency.
I think that that's fair to say because it's like you beat the Titans, but you only put up 16. Then you
But
gave up.
you being the person that puts in 16 is Davis Mills, who's been sitting on the bench for over a year, who had to just all of a sudden become the starter against the Titans. It's not like
Was
CJ Stroud went out there and put up 16 points on
Yeah,
date
but
on
they
that
put up
offense.
36 against the Jaguars the week before.
Yeah, he did because they had a comeback win. And that's the thing
Third,
when it comes to a team, like the team is not full. Some teams have a way better offense and they suck, and some teams have a way better defense and they suck. And so it's like, okay, you got to go put up against the Raiders and the Cardinals, you got to go put up 25 points a game. But I'm sure if you look into the stats, one team probably leans heavily more into having a better offense, and one team leans more into having a better defense.
both those teams have poo defenses. Both those teams' defenses are garbage.
And the Raiders'
Um,
offense is absolutely
the Raiders are just garbage all around. That
Eugene Smith.
But it's like look at the Panthers. Like the Panthers have a pretty solid defense. Their offense is the thing that's wildly inconsistent. They're similar to the Texans in that sense. Yeah.
their offense. Yeah. Well, here's my take on that. The
Their
Niners put
defense
up
is crazy. Their defense is
their defense
crazy,
is
bro.
good, but the Niners put up 20 points with Brock Purdy having a 3-pick, potentially 5-pick game. That should have been like a 38-10 game.
But who
That
can't
easily
score?
should have been a blowout.
Who couldn't score?
It
You can
wasn't
get
so much that they couldn't score. It
you
was
can
the
get
fact that
three
they were turning the
picks.
ball over. But
Yeah, but
that's
I'm
the
saying
problem.
like
It wasn't like the defense was holding them. He was making bad decisions and throwing picks. They
yeah,
were
and I'm
moving
saying
the ball at
as
will.
soon as they give the ball back to Bryce Young, 3 and out goes back to the 49ers. So they get all these chances. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
But my point is that, you know, the Niners beat the Panthers was like 20-9, 20-8.
yeah.
Should have been like 38-8. It should have been 21-0 at one point. But then you see the Panthers then go and put up 31 points against the Rams. So Brian, I think the real big point I was trying to make is that
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy is still putting up, 20 points, should have been 38 points. Had he not turned the ball over, they put up a minimum 30 points.
Yeah. But the 49ers coach is offensive minded. So of course he's one of the best was one of the best offensive coordinators when he was in the league. So of course their offense is going to run smooth. It always has, always will. And now their
It-
defense is better because they got Robert Saleh. That was the thing about the
yeah,
Texans. We have a defensive team, and the Texans have always been a defensive organization. Like we always had good defenses from the inception. We've had exceptional offense. I think Alex is going to point to like that 2012 Matt Schaub, with the doing all the bootlegs. But I looked it up. That offense was number, I think, 7 in the league, and that was like the best offense we've ever had. It's number 7.
Well, that's because you had Matt
We
Schaub, Aaron
we've
Falk,
never
Trey
the
Johnson.
Texans have never had a stellar offense in their whole entire inception.
yeah. I need to see some more like point higher
That's
up points
because
per game.
you're used to the Niners. You're used to watching offenses score a whole bunch of points. But then what happens when you get to like playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Well, yeah, and
The
that's
Super
why
Bowl
this
is not
year's
the Super Bowl is not like that. That's why
the
the
years.
playoffs ain't like that. The playoffs is never high scoring. So that's why
I
I'm like
mean,
it
yep,
doesn't really matter. Whoever can win the game, that's what matters at the end of the
yep.
day. At the end of the day,
Here's what I think the last 3 games have been a little bit concerning. I didn't watch the Titans game, but I did watch the Bills game and I watched the Colts game. In the
yeah,
moments in which the Texans could just close the game out, where it's like it's a done deal. We talk about that um, going forward on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal, but
yeah,
even getting to the point where you have a sustainable drive to then put up a touchdown. They put up a touchdown
yeah,
on that, and the game's essentially over because then the
yeah,
Colts have to drive the field. on that defense, score,
Yeah.
kick an onside, and even let's say they get it, still have to drive the field again. I'm going to
Let's just
take the
talk
Texans
about
defense.
let's just talk about the Colts because then the Bills, it was Davis Mills. It's our backup quarterback. I'm not holding him to the same standard as
I,
you're supposed to hold the starter because he has a whole different skill set, a whole different mindset, and we have a first year offensive coordinator. This man has not had one NFL season. He has not had one complete NFL season. So he's not like somebody who's like Chip Kelly or somebody. And I'm not saying Chip Kelly is a master, but he could come in and look at someone like Davis Mills and be like, here's your skill set. Okay, let me game plan for you to be in your strengths. You know, Nick Caley still has to learn those things because this is his first time ever calling offense in the NFL. And
Hey,
so
you
Chip Kelly at the job
I
fair
look,
right
I look,
now.
I look at things like that, you know, and I'm just like, it's his first season, bro. It's literally his first time ever, and the offense is steadily improving every single week. We are getting wins at least, and so I think that that's important. You know, I really do,
I disagree with the improvement part. I will.
man.
Yes, yes and no. Yes and no. I think there are aspects in which the offense is improving, but there's also aspects in which the offense is just it's
Especially
staying the
our
same.
offensive line has improved for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the running backs have stepped up. Woody Marks has made some super clutch plays. We know we've seen him
Yeah,
get some
and you
first
remember
downs.
they weren't even using Woody Marks as much as they are now. But they were like, Woody Marks is doing really well. Let's start using Woody Marks a lot more.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. You know, because
I
I
I
mean that's
just think at
just
some point in
how it
time
goes.
to truly have the Texans as an AFC favorite because they have the number one defense, the offense has to have a drive where they need to put the dagger in the other team, where it's like, oh, boom, you score a touchdown, you're up by 10. It's just, good luck on this defense. And I just
Yeah,
haven't seen that over the last, I haven't seen that outside of the comeback win against the Jaguars, which was one game. The last, three games, I haven't seen that. They've kicked game winning. They've gone now. The Titans, they did drive down the field and they kicked the game winning field goal with time expiring, but it's the Titans. I know it's an in division game, but it's the Titans. The Titans are 1-11 for a reason. So I want to see a game in which the offense, the defense holds. The offense takes advantage and puts the dagger in a team where it's like, all right, it's done. I don't. I want to see just an offensive led victory performance.
It really starts with red zone because a
Mhm.
lot of these games are close like that because you're kicking field goals because you can't score in the red zone. And even then, like looking at the Colts game, I mean, you get to the red zone twice, you score twice, but then you get to the point where you try to tush push back to back, and now you turn the ball over on downs. Like, I understand where you're trying to be aggressive, but there are some times where it's okay to be aggressive sometimes. And it's not to say you're being conservative by kicking that field goal, but you're being a lot smarter because you force them to go, score the touchdown, but there's more pressure because if you don't, because if you when you're up 20-16 and you score the touchdown, that's going to give you the lead. If you're up 23-16 and you score the touchdown, that's just going to give you the tie.
So yeah, so they would be, let's say the Colts would have scored the touchdown. They would have had to go down and kick a field goal. But hypothetically that offense has to get back on the field with whatever time's remaining. Do you have confidence that that offense is going to come in clutch?
yes, because the offense can move the ball. The offense just can't punch it in because when you see where our drives stall out, it's mostly like you said in the red zone. So I mean, if you that's one thing that the Texans did do in that time in that game is control the clock.
Mhm.
The Colts ran out, and then also whenever in that final drive, whenever the offense had to get first downs, and you knew they had to run it in order to run the timeout, they picked up the first downs as they
They
needed.
did. Yeah, that's
So
fair.
that's
They did. So
the offense put the game away literally.
they
They
did.
didn't
I
they didn't
think when it
score
comes,
doing it, but they did execute.
but let's say they're down by a touchdown.
Yeah,
Regardless, sorry, Alex, I'll let you talk here in a second. But let's say, hey, it's not a field goal where it's like, oh, don't have to go in the red zone, you just have to get in field goal range. But if it's a touchdown, like you have to go down and score a touchdown to tie the game up to then go into
yeah,
overtime. Do you have confidence they can do that?
yeah.
I mean, but I don't,
The funny
especially if
part
they're
about
already
it,
struggling.
the Texans haven't been in that situation because we are always up at the end of the games, which means we score more points than the other team. And I think that
That's a valid
is
point.
that's
I
the
can't argue that. I get that. The playoffs are just a different beast. It's a different beast. There's a lot of young players.
like I said,
I
man.
just
So you're telling me Bo Nix is gonna go do it? If we're in that situation, you're telling me Bo Nix is gonna end our season.
I'm saying it's going to be tight.
You're telling
These
me
play.
Drake May is gonna end our season by driving down the field.
I'm
You're
saying if
telling
the
me
Texans are down and it comes to the offense, I'm a little concerned. If the Texans are up, and that, I think the Texans are a front-running team, but that's also
Yeah,
what bit the Niners in the butt. The Niners were also a front-running team. So when it
yeah,
came down to the Niners being down and having to come back and make wins, they haven't been able
yeah.
to do that very often until like the first game in the playoffs against the Packers that year was like Kyle Shanahan was 1 in like 30. It was a ridiculous number, but they're starting to learn to do that. But,
Mm-hmm.
going to your points, this is a first year offensive coordinator. There's not a ton of weapons. CJ Stroud
Yeah,
is a good quarterback, but the offensive line has gotten better, but it's still a little suspect at times. But you
yeah.
get into a position in which you are not leading and the offense has to go out there and sustain a drive to score points. I have concerns. Um, Now they haven't been in that situation, but the playoffs are a different animal. So I think the defense keeps them in games, but there's going to come a point in time in which they're going to be down and they have to score crucial points. And that's what I'm concerned with. And that's why I want to see the offense get some. You've got two tune-up games against two crappy teams.
Wait,
The Cardinals and the Raiders are.
but you do see that because when you look at like the game against the Colts, like if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Colts take the lead and
I don't
then
think
the
the Colts
Texans
ever had the lead in that game. They was
the,
tied, but the
the
Texans
Texans
had the
didn't
lead.
go? Okay,
They were
so it was
down six to
tied.
three at one point. They were down 6-3 early in the game. I'm talking about
Yeah,
crucial moments, fourth
crucial
quarter,
moments.
5 minutes
Okay.
to go. You have to go down and put it in, or you lose. I don't have confidence yet.
See, I mean, like I said, I don't think it's necessary because of the way that we play football. Every team is always down to us, and
Sure, and
I
every
don't
team
see
was
that.
always down to the Niners,
I
but
don't
when
see
it
that
came down,
changing. And if it does change, like I said, I do have confidence in CJ Stroud because CJ Stroud is a dog in the playoffs.
I
Against
have
the
confidence in
Chiefs,
CJ Stroud.
in the Chiefs, he was doing crazy stuff, man. Now they didn't
Sure,
punch
I
it.
have
They didn't punch
confidence
it
in CJ
in, but
Stroud,
I believe.
but your first year coordinator, especially given that the same play twice and then it got stuffed and you didn't kick
Yeah,
the points, that doesn't give me confidence.
you win some, you lose some. Well, I mean, how you else you gonna learn? That's my thing. Like that's it.
As
I
long as he
mean,
learns from it. And those are teams.
There's a time
Uh,
to learn, and there's a time to
even
not.
that was the
even if
time to
even if you
learn.
learned from
that
that,
was,
I just don't think that was smart football. I
That was
don't
not
think
a
that was
time to
smart
learn.
football.
You're in a fight for the you learn something like that against the Raiders. You learn
that's
something like that
crazy.
against the Cardinals. You
Why
don't learn something like
you're
that
not
against
gonna
the Colts.
be
You don't, but you don't learn something like
you're
that
not gonna
against the
be
Colts at
down
Lucas
against the
Oil
Raiders
Stadium,
like
bro.
that. You're
Yeah,
not
but
gonna
I'm
be
saying,
down like that against the
but that's the
Colts.
But
time
they
you
but
can.
they
But that's
weren't
the
down
time you
against
can
the
go for
Colts.
it. Like,
So
Well, look, the week before y'all were talking about like, oh look, they were too conservative with their play calling. Now it's too risky. It's like what
yeah,
should they
but
have
no, no,
done?
no, no,
but
no.
certain plays though. So like let's give there's context that's to be deserved. In the Bills game, they had multiple chances to put that game away in the third quarter and early fourth quarter. They take
Yeah,
advantage of some of those picks, one pick six that got called back,
yeah. And like I
and in
said,
which they
Davis Mills, the backup quarterback, couldn't do it.
but
Yes, that's
they
why he's
were
a
moving
backup.
the ball in the first half. Like let's
Hey,
not act like
but
they
we
weren't
keep
moving the
calling
ball.
Davis
but
Mills a
that's
backup,
the
but like
thing.
we
But
have to understand that Davis Mills played like he started for like
he
3 seasons
yes,
consistently.
and then he became a backup because he was not good. As he was not good enough to be a starter. But
Davis Davis Mills could go to another team and be a starter.
like
Look at Mac Jones. Mac Jones is good enough to be a starter, but he's a backup right now.
at the
Yeah,
end of the game, like everyone starts to adjust and be like, okay, he keeps doing this, we keep giving up this, let's do something different. And
But you
so you
have to
have to
take
start to
advantage of
be
where the injuries were. There were injuries in that game. So that's one game where the offense, stuttered in the second half. Going into the Colts game, the decision to go for it on fourth down instead of kick the field goal, especially when you have the number one defense. I don't agree with that. Those are the kinds of game calling plans that will cost you a playoff game. When you're going to face a team, like John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlinson, these veteran coaches who will take advantage of those situations, of those, missed calls or bad
See,
calls.
but that's the key. You understand the difference between veterans and non-veterans. D'Amico Ryan, this is his third year in the as a head coach. So I mean, like we are playing like a young team through and through.
Yeah, but at some point you got to stop giving everybody grace. Stop saying, "Oh, it's his first year, or it's his second year, or it's his third year." At some point, you are a paid professional to
Bro,
make
but
good
look,
professional decisions.
at what point, how are you supposed to learn how to make good decisions?
You're gonna cost.
By always making perfect decisions? That's not how anybody makes perfect decisions. Like you're gonna make decisions that are questionable. And you're gonna be like,
Learn,
maybe we shouldn't do that. That's literally what CJ said at the end of the game. They were
yeah,
like,
but
hey, we noticed that you guys did some things better than y'all did last time. And he was like, yeah, because you cut yourself and you learn not to do that in the future. Literally, exactly what he's saying. So you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna be like, "Hey, that was not a good idea. Let's not do that in the future."
learn from
But
somebody
if
else's
you,
mistake. Don't
if
learn from your own mistakes.
that's a
I,
perfect world. That's a perfect
Learn,
I just don't
world.
learn,
think that was a
learn
learning
from
That's
Dan
mistake though against the
Campbell.
that's
Learn
Colts.
from
that's
Dan
that,
Campbell.
that's a perfect world you live in right there. How do you learn from your mistakes? You make them. You literally make them.
Yeah, but here's where I'm going to push back on that. Like you learn from your
Yeah,
mistakes, and I agree
yeah,
with that. But my problem with the Colts game, especially with that field goal, was
yeah.
sure that's a rookie mistake, but I'm not paid lots of money to call offensive plays, but playing lots of Madden, watching lots of football games, I would have kicked the field goal, knowing well that I had the number one defense, and that at worst case scenario, even if the defense lets them score, it's just a tie game. Because now what happens is if the
Yeah.
defense it lets them score, now you are down. And now we get to that point of, all right, cool, do you trust this offense? It didn't bite them in the ass this time, but you get into the playoffs when it is a higher stakes situation, and that will bite you in the ass. And it will be a learning situation, but it will cost you your season.
I don't think
The
so.
NFL
I don't
is
think
a
it
win now
necessarily
league.
will.
I hope it doesn't. I
It
really don't.
will.
I want the
If it
Texans to
comes
go all the
down
way.
to it,
I
it
don't
would.
think so because it doesn't mean that it will. Nah, I don't think so. Because trusting your defense is exactly why they went for it. Because they're like, look, Daniel Jones is not going to go down the field and score on us, and he
But
didn't.
that was just it was
So
silly given the context of the
they were
game.
right.
It
So they were
wasn't
right. So they were right. Literally.
I got you. They were right that time. But that was a low stakes. Like it was higher stakes, but it was still a low stakes regular season you get to play next week. It wasn't like a win or go home kind of game.
No. Yeah. I mean, we'll see against the Chiefs because the Chiefs are a very, very smart team. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Literally, you can if
Absolutely.
they can play smart football there, then I have confidence they'll play smart football in the
Oh,
playoffs.
absolutely. I agree. And
I think
like
it's a
I
Super
said,
Bowl playoff game.
each week, in my opinion of the Texans, the Texans get hotter each week and they become closer and closer to my favorite pick in the AFC because of their defense. Their offense
Yeah,
starts to put it together.
yeah,
They're the clear pick in the AFC. And so that's kind of, to gonna go back to where
yeah.
we started with this. That's my only thing I want to see. I want to see balance in the offense. I want to see good decision making, and I want to see some points scored in which they don't have to rely on the defense all the time.
See, my question though is, if you know your defense is your strength, what's wrong with relying on your strength? Because that's just
Because
how it is. That's like
at some
the
point in
2000
time,
Ravens. At some point in
but
time, it
no
didn't
other
happen to
team has
them.
done
At some
that.
point in time, they became Super Bowl champions.
That was an
Hey,
anomaly.
is
That was
things
an
that have never
anomaly.
happened
That happened
before
one
happen every
time.
day.
Happened one time.
Things
And
that have never
I
happened
think that's a
before
good
happen every
story,
day.
but it happened one time. It's not sustainable. It's
Well,
not something that
hey,
every team can do. That was a historically great defense.
that's
As great as the Texans
isn't
are,
that where that's where that phrase came from? Defense wins championships.
yeah, but when was the last time a defensive team, well, I'm not going to say that because the Eagles were technically a
Exactly.
defensive team, but their offense
And
was just
then the
putting up points.
2015 Broncos did the same thing. Von Miller with Cam Newton, they had the best offense. And what happened to him? The MVP was on the ground eating dirt the whole game. And then same with Patrick Mahomes. What happened whenever he got his ass kicked against the Patriots the Broncos? Sorry, what is it? The Buccaneers and the Eagles. Crazy defense got him. Jalen Hurts is, I would say, you could say he's a similar archetype minus Saquon Barkley of the Texans offense. You know, like
The
he
Eagles had a
doesn't do a
high-powered
bunch of
offense.
crazy
Let's not
things.
act like the Eagles
He
had
don't do
Saquon in his prime. They had AJ Brown
with
producing. They had
Saquon,
Devontae
yeah,
Smith
with
producing.
Saquon, yes. Like minus Saquon, he wasn't doing spectacular things, and
Saquon
they
Sure.
didn't do
were
nothing in
still
the Super
fine.
Bowl. He didn't do nothing in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
but I mean, Jalen Hurts took over the
He
Super
didn't,
Bowl.
but in the regular season, he ran for freaking two
He was the
thousand
reason
yards,
that
bro. You
they
can't
were
call that
14
nothing,
and
bro.
2. Or yeah, 14, 15, whatever their record was. He was the main driving
Bro,
force. He was what
that man was
CMC'd the
playing
year
Madden
before.
on them boys. He was playing Madden on them boys, getting them 80-yard touchdown runs, bro, in the
I'll
NFC
give you
Championship game, bro.
I'll give you the 2000 Ravens and I'll give you the 2015 Broncos, but let's not act like the Buccaneers weren't led by Tom Brady and they had Gronkowski, Jeff Godwin, Chris
Chris
Godwin, Mike
Godwin, Mike
Evans.
Evans, Leonard Fournette, like
Let's not act like
Antonio
they weren't stacked on
Brown.
They
offense.
did.
Oh,
You see it
bro,
in
Tom Brady.
rare
Okay,
Okay,
instances.
bro.
give me the 2016 Patriots did the same thing against the Rams.
No, but the thing about it is Tom Brady literally went out, got Gronk, went out, got Fournette, went out, got AB.
Oh
Like it
no,
wasn't
no.
like
I'm
there
talking about the
wasn't a
20 I'm talking about the 20 I'm talking about the 2016 Super Bowl, the Patriots versus the Rams.
Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying it doesn't happen often.
what
I'm not
year?
saying it can't.
It doesn't,
2016.
but they're
You're talking about
often
20.
their
Oh yeah,
offense
that was the
2019.
boring one against the 13 to.
2019. No, that was 2019.
yeah, it was a low it was
No,
a
no, no, it wasn't 2019. Oh
oh
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
yeah,
think it
was.
you're right. It
was.
That
was
was
2019.
2019. 2016 was
Yeah, 2019.
yeah.
2019, yeah. Also, in the Seahawks versus the Broncos. They beat the crap out of the Broncos defensively. And so it happens all the time. Boy, they scored
That
40
offense was still
points,
pretty
bro.
good.
Because
You
Yeah,
still
but
had a
yeah,
prime
but
they
that
had a
Marshawn
was
great
Lynch.
but that was the Legion. That was the
they
Legion.
had great both sides. They had great both sides of the ball. But what I'm saying is like I don't know. It's just like in baseball. Like sometimes you got teams that have immaculate pitching and an okay offense. Sometimes you have teams that have a great offense and okay pitching. You know, it's just like you have to play to the
Yeah,
strength of your team. And our strength is the defense. As much as I would love the offense to do all these crazy things, like that's not how our team is built. And I don't think we will see that. To be
that's fair.
honest, because you
Here's
look at
here.
the opposite happens all the time. Look at the Bills; they're like the opposite. They're literally like the opposite of our team, or
The
the
Bills
Bucks would be
don't
a
have many
better.
weapons. They've got James Cook and Khalil Shakir. That's
They don't.
about it.
Keon
Dalton or
But I
not
remember
Dalton
like
Schultz, but
2 years ago, or like
Coleman?
the Bills
when they
whenever they
had
had
Stephon
Diggs,
Diggs.
like bro,
Yeah,
they would score a lot of points and then they would lose because they couldn't stop Mahomes. You know, that's more important, and especially in football, specifically in football, I believe defense is more important because you can actually score on defense. But like in baseball, well, pitching, they say pitching. You know, literally, that's why the Astros lost to the freaking Nationals because they had a freaking all-star lineup pitching against the. You know, you can't get a hit on them. You can't beat a team. You know, and so
I,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I
I
get
think
that. I still
it's
think your
possible.
offense needs to be competent. You run the risk of, just not being able to score enough points. Your defense
We
holds them to a
we
reasonable amount.
we are
But
competent. I can say we're middle of
here's
the
what I
pack.
will say. To agree with you though, if there was ever a year to have a defensive led team go in because the competition is mid, this would be the year. This would be the year. Now the one team
Because my question
that I
is,
would
who does have that offense that can just put up points at will? That can score 40 at will.
the Rams.
That's about it.
The Rams are that
Literally
one
the only
team that has
team.
that offense. And that
The only
they
team
might
that can do that.
that's fine. They're the one
And
team. So
against
if
the
they make the
Texans,
Super
what did they
Bowl,
score? What did they score? They scored 14
just
points
once
against
again,
the Texans.
first game of the year. Let's keep it in context.
They still played the Texans though. They scored 14 points.
Sure. And I mean the Patriots lost to the Raiders the first game of the week. So I'm gonna give both teams a watch. I think both, like I said before, both teams have gotten better. The Rams offense has gotten better. The Texans defense has gotten better. If you
Yeah.
play again,
And
that would be a tough matchup. As
Texans.
great as
Texans.
that would be an ultimate matchup. Who truly has the best? Is it the better defense or is it the better offense? That would be a great Super Bowl. I don't want that Super Bowl because I don't like
Bro,
the Rams, but
the Rams, your stellar offense, they scored 17 points against the Ravens.
what week was that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 6.
I'm gonna say this. I wouldn't like to play the Rams again because Puka Nakua was killing us, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Puka
Devontae
It
Adams is
was.
now the best red zone wide
killing us.
receiver in the NFL. Now Matthew Stafford, like this is where this is such a level playing field. The Panthers beating the Rams leveled the playing field where it's like, all right, there's no team above reproach. There's no team that is just world beaters. You saw what the Niners did to the Panthers on a
You
three,
about to
possibly
see.
five turnover game. And then you see the
You about to see what
Panthers,
the
they or the
Cardinals.
Niners.
The Cardinals about to
The
beat the Rams this week.
dude, if the Cardinals beat the Rams, there is no favorite to win the Super Bowl. Absolutely none. It is anybody's Super Bowl to win. It is literally that scene from Cars in which Lightning McQueen blows out both of his tires and he's a lap of everybody, and then they floor it because they're like, oh, it's time to catch up. That is literally what would happen if the Cardinals beat the Rams.
That's man. They couldn't beat the freaking Jag. The Cardinals aren't as bad as they seem. That's what they're not the
They're just not
Ravens.
clutch. Like they're just not clutch. They don't. The ball is just not bounced in their favor, and it's the same.
If it
It's
does,
very much like the
somebody's gonna
Chiefs. The
someone's about to get a bad win to the Cardinals in the next few weeks.
Hopefully,
absolutely,
it's not the Texans.
Oh
yeah,
no, not
that's
us. It
fair.
can't be.
But
Please don't
hey,
be. I think our defense
abs-
is too good.
absolutely. Well, we're gonna save the keys to the game in an upcoming show. I'm super excited. So get some keys to the game.
Yeah,
We'll get our picks. We'll do a little more scouting around the NFL. Any final
yeah.
thoughts?
Go Texans.
Cool.
Go
All right,
Texans.
gentlemen, as always, great show, and I will see you next time.